What's up, guys? I'm making this video today because I watched the Fnatic vs MKOI series today in the LEC. It was the, I guess, fourth place match, third place match. Winner of this plays KC. Winner of that plays against G2. I was watching this series, and after game 2, Oscar said that Fnatic was playing very disciplined on the day.
Straight off the stage into the interview, 2-0 already. Oscar, it's going great today. Tell me what the most important factors were in winning this game.
I mean, I think we are playing pretty disciplined. Like, I don't think we are trying to make a lot of things happen. I think we are just doing our thing, playing slow, and yeah, playing together in team fights, and that's it. We don't need to do anything special to beat them.
I could not disagree more with this statement. I've been watching the Fnatic games for years now, and I feel like Fnatic is probably one of the most undisciplined teams when it comes to elite teams in any region around the world. Like, the players are solid. You have 5 good players individually. They can play their matchups. But when it comes to team discipline and how they play the map and the decisions they make in game, I feel like this has always been the downfall of Fnatic. So hearing this, it kind of like bothered me to the point where I'm making this video. Now, I think a lot of people, when they hear this type of statement of like a player said that the team is disciplined, they're like, well, what do you want him to say, Dom? Do you want him to say that they're fucking dog shit and they should all just like themselves? It's like, no. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that he needs to say that they are like super undisciplined and bad, but if you get asked why your team is performing, they could say something that is honest. For example, like, I think that in the first 2 games, I thought Fnatic had pretty good drafts into what KOI has. For example, in this game, you look at what they've drafted, and they have double AD carries into a kha'zix, so they have the ability to actually kill a kha'zix. They have decent engage. They have pretty good early game all around. The lane matchups are all pretty decent. If you look at KOI's draft, normally I don't like these types of drafts where you have kha'zix, Maokai, and Alistar without a super consistent damage-dealing mid laner. So normally this is the type of draft where you'd want to see an Azir or something, like a Talia, for example, where you could put out more consistent damage. Yone wants to play like in and out in the fights and try to just like get damage off in small bursts. When he has his E up, when his E is down, he's kind of useless. And normally I think what ends up happening is that a lot of your tankiness ends up being for naught because you don't actually have the consistent damage to back up the tankiness. And when you have a really tanky team comp like that, something that's good about Fnatic's draft is that they have a Corki and Ezreal, so they have 2 champions that will scale well and have 2 AD carries, which obviously allows you to kill tanks. So let's go into this game. Now, the reason that I think that they have been super undisciplined is because there are so many situations that happen in the game where Fnatic has the ability to maintain a lead or even grow a small lead, and they always make the most risky decision possible at times where the risk actually has almost 0 benefit to them, and they are naturally winning the situation. So let's go with this first play. This is a very minor thing that I've noticed, but I think that this is the first time in the game where I noticed like a lack of discipline. I think up until this point, everything was fine. But when it comes to discipline here, mechanics were a little bit bad. Rumble wasn't good, whatever. Overall, it's a winning fight. I see a Vi who has ulti up, no flash, 100 HP. Chasing in, Oscar makes the right play. Okay, goes in. Merwin is a no flash kha'zix just sitting in the middle of the enemy team. This guy is so fucking dead on my screen right now. And watch what Razork does. He walks up and he tries to time his ulti with the Merwin W and ends up just giving a free kill to Merwin, which is actually pretty bad in this circumstance because the kha'zix will be pretty tanky up until Fnatic hits their 3rd item. When you think about how Fnatic comp interacts, there is a point where it's like kha'zix is unkillable, but once they get Last Whisper on Corki, once they get Sorelda on Ezreal, then the kha'zix is a lot more killable for them, and they can play the game pretty normally. They are going to be the ones that have the leverage in fights because they control space better. They have the Ezreal Corki to poke people out, and they have more damage once the fight is engaged. So this is like the first thing where I'm like, oh, that's a little bit of a lack of discipline, but it's not a big deal. You know, if this was the only thing, I'd be like, you know, as a team, you guys are playing disciplined. This second thing that we're about to see, that I'm about to show you here, is such a blatant lack of discipline. So we can look at one more minor thing, like, okay, Oscar walking like this, probably not good. Like, he should probably just be walking the safe way. Instead, he's walking the greedy way. Ends up getting chased by kha'zix. kha'zix just pulls him back. Ults him. All right, he's dead. Small. These are individual lacks of discipline. I don't care about this too much. Let's talk about the team discipline. So if you look at this play, Fnatic makes a really good play here. They pick off Jojo Pion in the side lane. Jojo goes to the side lane. He has no flash. Mickey makes a good play. Hex flashes out of the bush. WR, and then Q's him after. Really good play. Look at the map right now for Fnatic. They now have top lane completely open on the side of Mad KOI. The Rumble is collecting. He's going to get this turret for free. There are waves of minions just dying top. Even though right now, if you look at the game, they have like a 1,200 gold lead. It is going to be more than that because the spot turret is low. They have the tempo here bot. They have the ability to hit the top turret. There is no play that Koi can actually make in this game. So what is the right play from this circumstance? Fnatic is chilling. They can still just progress their Muramanas. That is their big spike in this game. Muramana on Ezreal, Muramana on Corki, and then their bigger spike is obviously once they have their armor pen on top. But once they both have Muramanas, they're going to be chilling in this game. Razork has 3 camps up bot side. He is sitting with Krugs, Red, and Raptors up. He can easily clear his 3 bot camps, play into Top Crab, play into Herald, and they can just play a normal game and probably snowball this like 1.2k gold lead into a 2.5, 3k gold lead before this Drake spawns in 2 minutes and 24 seconds. This is where you would be disciplined, right? We already got enough. We are naturally winning because we picked somebody and we got their top leader to TP bot. We picked somebody and now the Rumble is completely collecting topside. Instead of just easily doing your camps, also this ward, Fnatic knows this ward is here because they swept it. If you go back to here, where is it? Boom. Yeah, so they know this ward is here. Actually, maybe it's a replaced ward. Let me see. No, they know that ward is there. Okay, so they know that ward is there because they swept it as they walked over it. So they have info that they're standing on a ward right now. Unless Merwin is completely dog shit at the game, he will never die here, bro. He's a Cassante who's like borderline unkillable. Even if they hit everything, he's borderline unkillable. And he's sitting here with WE up, and the wave is not even here. Instead of just going for the camps, making the consistent play, this is what they do instead. They'll just play out the situation. Hex flash over the wall, and this is all on vision. Like, they know they're on vision this entire time. Never killing this Cassante, by the way. Like, Cassante doesn't get tankier than this point in the game. Then, Razor Qs onto the vision, onto this pink ward that they know is there. They have it pinged. He Qs onto the vision, opens himself up for them to make a play. Gets caught. Has to ult out. Also, if you think about how you want to play this game, as a Vi, what is your idea in this game? You're about to hit level 11. Wouldn't you want your next ult to be on an objective at level 11? You don't want a level 10 ult here and not have your ult up for the Rift Tower and potentially have to give it. You don't want to have to be wasting stuff here. Maokai comes down. Mickey has to block it because of the fact that if it hits Razork, Razork is dead. Then Mickey ends up having to use his Rel Flash. So that is one of your tools. He has to flash. Razork ends up having to flash out. You just lost your Rel Flash, your Vi Flash, Vi ult, and a bunch of tempo on the map for no reason. Like, Fnatic doesn't want to be here. Upset doesn't want to be here. Fnatic should, theoretically, want to have Rumble just collecting topside, Upset farming mid, Vi farming his camps, going towards Rift Herald. Crab is about to spawn. He could be done with like 3 camps, or be almost done with 3 camps, going topside. Mickey X could back. Humanoid's completely fine bot. And they could play topside where they will have TP advantage and Cassante will be bought with no TP. They probably will be able to get Rift Herald for free. Leverage that into mid turret, which will then be able to create a good situation for the third Drake. Super obvious gameplay. All of this stuff is like super scripted from any top teams around the world. And you see Fnatic butcher this, and then we're gonna say we're disciplined, bro. This is the opposite of discipline, bro. This is zero fucking discipline. Upset plays it as bad as humanly possible. He actually flashes at the one time he can't flash. If Cassante just ults him and then he flashes after, he's fine. The only reason why he dies here is because he flashes during the Cassante R, so he gets essentially knocked out of his flash. So instead of his flash being from like here to here, or like let's say he gets ulted, he would be like around here and then flashing over the wall. He then ends up getting killed. But like these types of mistakes, you can see these mistakes being made in situations where it becomes an all-out fistfight. You have the natural ability to win the game. Why are you creating an all-out fistfight right now when everything is going well? You're flipping the game over nothing. And this is what Fnatic does all the fucking time, bro. Fnatic's been doing this shit for fucking years. And I'm sitting here watching it, and then I have to hear him say, we're disciplined. We're fucking disciplined. We're disciplined. Razork's back in. Oh, now Cassante is Mega Thanos, bro. Now Cassante is Mega Thanos. Let's look at what's happening topside. You had the death timer. You know exactly what the death timer is on Yone. You know they have Hex Gates. And Oscar tries to cheat an extra wave, and then he dies too. Bro, we just inted 4 kills into them for 0. Our gold lead went from what was going to be a 2.5k gold lead, 2k gold lead, and what was already a 1.3k gold lead to now we are losing. And we lost all of our big tools to be able to play the next Drake. Next, let's go to an even more disgustingly obvious moment where they make a play for bot turret. They get bot tier 2, but as a result, Koi decides to go for the Otacon. Good play from Koi. They get the Otacon. Fnatic has third, Drake coming up in 125, but this Otacon is not game winning. It's not going to bridge into the Baron. You just have to play defensively for 2.5 minutes, and the Otacon won't matter. So let's see what Fnatic ends up doing versus Otacon. Have you ever seen something this mentally ill in your life, bro? Have you ever seen anything this crazy in your life? They have a 3k gold lead. They have reestablished control over the game from just like winning these neutral situations. And what are we doing with the 3k gold lead? Let me see what we're doing with the 3k gold lead. Enemy team has Otacon. Enemy team has Otacon. And we are going to contest Drake straight up. Like, I don't mind this look. You know, what I think should happen here is I think Humanoid should be walking down mid lane, potentially hitting the tier 2 mid if they want to actually squeeze and get greedy here. I'm fine with this angle. Razork trying to find a flank. Okay, all good. Ezreal ult misses, and Razork ends up giving his position here. As soon as you see this, as Fnatic, as soon as you see this situation, all right, give them the Drake, man. We don't need to fight into 5 Otacons in front of us when it's like 1 minute until Baron. We're still good. We're close to our items. If you look at the item situation, you're close to the point where Corki's about to get his LDR. You're close to the point where Sorrells is going to end up coming through from the Ezreal here, but instead we're doing this bullshit, man. It's like so frustrating to watch because you just look at the fight. I mean, we know what Otacon does. We know how Otacon works. Here we go. Yup. What do you expect? They obviously can't commit for any of these kills because they know that like these are Otacons. Supit just goes on Razork. He gets 1v1. Razork gets 1v1. And now the game is like completely thrown. They essentially threw what would have been a 2k gold lead and a 3k gold lead in the same game. It's not like they threw a 5k gold lead. They threw 5k gold over 2 different instances in this game. When I see this shit, it's so crazy. We're saying discipline, bro. We're saying discipline. We saw this shit. We said discipline here. Like I can't buy it, bro. I can't buy it. Say something else. Hey, good job with the drafts. Grabs, good job, bro. Say that. Don't say we played this game disciplined. Please do not say that when we just fought 5v5 versus 5 Otacons, we played a disciplined game. Do not tell me that. Do not tell me that. And then you just watch like throughout. I mean, it is just like, it's just a clown show. It's just a standard Fnatic clown show. Just random like fights all over the place. Like, look at this play. We just Q flash the Yone who has his E snap back trying to like one-shot him. Rel gets canceled. Unlucky. I mean, this guy has shield bow. Like, this is the play we end up going for. And all of this is because what Fnatic did earlier. So now the game is actually hard to play. Just a random fight like this. Then there's the Baron situation. Obviously, you have to look at Upset here. He sees the Maokai ult coming at him. It's like just in complete vision. Upset ends up getting hit. So it's just mechanical misplay. Gets hit without cleanse. He has flash and E up at this moment. Ends up dying one shot. Look at Razork here. He just goes directly into hell, bro. He puts himself in the middle of hell for this play. And like, this is what the game ended up becoming. When have you seen this before? So now Koi has the advantage. And watch the Vi. Watch the confidence from Razork here. Straight up into the Cassante. When have you seen a Vi Q goes for the Cassante, keeps on fighting. Here he could Q out. Q's in again. Puts himself in no man's land. Ends up dying. Humanoid ends up dying too. Upset is dead as well. E flashes. Still ends up dying. If Koi wants, they could just take Baron. They could take the mid inhib, take Baron, just end the game normally. Fnatic ended up winning this game, and we're talking about discipline, bro. We're talking about discipline in this game. Let's look at game number 2, bro. So this he made the statement after game number 2, so I'm not going to talk about game number 3, game number 5, 4. Obviously, there was no game number 5. I'm not going to talk about the next games. It wouldn't be fair, right? He made the statement after game number 2. Let's look at game number 2, bro. Turbo draft. Let me just say, turbo draft on Fnatic. Turbo draft on Fnatic. This Gwen champion completely 1v9s this game. There are no champions on the side of Koi that can actually deal with Gwen. Normally, when you play against Gwen, you need something that has the ability to like deal melee damage into Gwen. You need like a Jax on your team or something that's going to make it hard for Gwen to just, immune the range damage and just sit in your team. This Gwen game, if Gwen hits 3 items in this game, he's going to turbo fist the entire enemy team. I thought this was a great draft from Fnatic. One mark of a good team is when they load into the game, how well are they able to identify which champions really matter in the game? Like, which champions on their team they should play around. In this game, you drafted the Gwen R5 for a reason, because this pick is going to fist everyone on the enemy team. So if this is your mentality going into it, you need to play to enable the Gwen to have the best game possible. If you want to see a good example of this, watch Hanwha Life versus Genji in game 5. Zeus was picked Gwen in a very similar spot. It's obviously not identical, but it's the same type of thing where the enemy team has a Trundle, they have a Ornn on the enemy team, so they don't have anything that can actually melee beat up the Gwen. So Gwen is going to turbo scale in this game. It was played against a Jinx in that game as well. And if you watch a Hanwha Life plays, the number one thing they care about, even with the way they do the lane swap, with how they're thinking about the entire game, is that Gwen has good conditions. If Gwen has good conditions at all points in the game, the Gwen will carry the game. So let's see what Fnatic does with this information. If they think that Gwen is going to be the champion that turbo fists the entire fucking game, how are we going to play around the Gwen? Let's see. What would that mean, right? Let's start conceptualizing what that would mean. Playing around the Gwen. Okay, make sure that Gwen is always getting farm. Make sure that Gwen gets prio on the sideways, because that's like the champion that is going to win you the game later on. Not creating volatility in the early game, not creating volatility in other spots on the map. Everyone play stable, and Gwen will carry us. Like, make sure that we have even pressure. Make sure he's able to play, like, hit his waves according to the fact that his champion is just winning. Let's do all that, and let's see what Fnatic ends up doing. Also, just want to note, I actually like Upset going poke Varus in this game, or going lethality Varus in this game. It's not his job to kill the tanks this game. When you look at how the comps are set up, a lot of people will say, oh, as Varus, you have to go on hit when you play the tanks. You only have to go on hit Varus into tanks if your job is to kill the tanks as Varus. In a game like this, you have a Gwen on your team. You have a Talia that does damage as well. You don't actually need to kill the tanks. So having the range advantage and being able to set up good zones and control and outrange the enemy team so that you can make them to come into you and then let your Gwen be stronger is actually the right move from Upset. So I like the setups, and I like what everyone ended up doing here until this, bro. They have a ward. They even pinged. So they have a ward on Sejuani here. They know exactly where Sejuani is. So they're going into this with full information that Sejuani is topside. And watch what Fnatic ends up doing. No tangible advantage here. Leona, one of like the strongest, one of the tankiest champions in the game at level 3, by the way, with bone plating and everything. They full send on the Leona. Elyoya is right here. It's no surprise that Elyoya is here. You saw that he was full clearing. Also, 339. I mean, Crab has already spawned. You know that you're actually going to be in a 3v3 here. Elyoya will be here every single time. And what does Fnatic do? They force a 3v3 that is super hard losing. They lose flashes on Xin Zhao and flash on Upset here. Also, they're not built for the 3v3. You have a cleanse Varus as opposed to like a champion with barrier. Nautilus, much worse in these all-in fights than a champion like Leona. And they just fight like this. Like, this is the worst thing that could happen, because now the Jinx is 2-0 and the game can essentially be snowballed so hard that maybe your Gwen doesn't get a chance to hit 3 items. Like, you shouldn't want to add variance into the game. This is the opposite of discipline. You do not want to add the variance into a game like this, because the more variance there is, the lower chance that Gwen will be able to actually hit the items that she needs to carry, right? And this is what ends up happening. Boom. Now Super's really far ahead. Ornn has TP. We're like looking behind the turret. We're not making Gwen's game easier at all. Gwen TP'd to side lane. Ornn has TP advantage. We know this in the game. Ornn just at level 6. Just let Gwen keep on farming. And what are we doing? We are just sending on the Leona for the second time. And this is also a timer where Elyoya is going to be topside. It's 6 minutes. You saw his first clear. You know that he just cleared his bot side camps. And you know that he could be here. So, like, why are you playing topside right here when the Ornn has TP and can potentially TP on you? They even hit the hook on Suba. It doesn't matter at all, bro. It doesn't matter at all. Just donating kills, bro. Just donating all the kills to the Jinx. And what I think should have probably ended up happening here is that Azir would take over bot, and then they like shift Ornn down and they just play the lanes like that for one timing, let Suba hit the turret. Either way, doesn't matter. The point is, Fnatic is just adding a bunch of variance into this game. Then we see this situation where they end up getting dove on tier 2. And just because they end up going so deep here, Fnatic is actually able to come back and get something. Also, I think that what should be happening here is Jojo should probably be pressuring the Talia, not letting Talia free roam topside. He has full information of what is happening. He knows the Talia is trying to move. Just like literally WEQing onto Talia's face, even ulting her away from you, would be good enough. You just want to make it so that Talia can't move here. And yeah, I mean, MKOI is probably just winning this game with their 3-0 Jinx. Yeah, Elyoya actually ended up getting his Q canceled here. He got his Q canceled. He was trying to Q Humanoid off the wall. And what ends up happening is that Fnatic ends up getting his kill back. Good flip from Humanoid. Upset gets 2 kills, and now the Upset, the Varus went from being turbo behind to now being only 300 gold behind because he got a massive shutdown and he got another kill right here. When I see these games, it's so crazy to hear discipline, man. Like, this is the opposite of what Fnatic is. Good teams will play around the members that actually have the ability to carry the game. We didn't see this with Fnatic multiple times throughout the first 2 games. Even in game number 4, we saw a lack of discipline. Game number 3, same type of thing. They had a Draven. They didn't do anything to try to make sure that the Draven had an easy game, that you know, he was able to cash in at any point. It was the same shit that you always see with Fnatic. So I am pretty tired of this Fnatic team at this point. Like, it feels like they always played the same way. When I saw the new lineup, I thought there was hope, and then I see the same mistakes in game, and it just seems to me like, sure, they could end up winning the split, but I think if they do end up winning the split, it is honestly just a bit of luck, because the whole split, you watch the games versus BDS, you watch the games versus Koi today, you watch how they played in regular season. They did win games, but a lot of the games were just like mechanical outplays, people playing well in certain pockets. They weren't the type of wins where you're like, oh, this is a solid team. The wins that Casey had, the wins that G2 had, even though they had less in regular season, were way more convincing as to like how they were playing in general as a team. So I wanted to make this video, just point out the lack of discipline from Fnatic, because we've seen this so many times from the team. And it feels like the way that Fnatic shows up is they're just hoping they play better on the day. You know, they show up, they don't have any of the fundamentals down, and they just hope that they all smurf on the day. And maybe if they all smurf and, like, you know, it's a great day for them, they can win a championship. But that is not a consistent way to build a team to beat G2. And right now, I'd be surprised if Fnatic is able to beat KC tomorrow. I think KC's been way more solid. I think G2's been way more solid. And they just have better fundamental ideas as a team. So lack of discipline from Fnatic. Don't want to hear that they're a disciplined team. This was absolutely disgusting in the first couple games. All right, see you next time.